It's Final Friday.
I asked you for someone you've followed forever, and you said Nathan W. Pyle, who's on Twitter at Nathan W. Pyle, and on Instagram at Nathan W. Pyle Strange Planet. And Pyle, in all of those, is spelled P-Y-L-E. You said in your email that you've been following Nathan since before Strange Planet, which is his most famous work. To start, maybe we should explain what Strange Planet is.
Yeah, I think he's written 2 books, and he also just puts out individual sketches. So he's a cartoonist, and they're usually kind of, I would say, 4-panel cartoons, and pretty much anything he puts out, but especially these Strange Planet ones. And the whole concept is it's just alien cartoons that are doing human things, but they have different names, descriptions for these human things, none of which are coming to mind at the moment. But it's so good, it's so clever, it's so relatable. Like, I don't know anyone that doesn't enjoy it. It's also just really wholesome, which isn't like necessarily something I seek out all the time, but I do like having this sort of very wholesome follow too, and I just like the world that he lives in that's so wholesome in that way. And I think 2 months ago or around that time, they announced that they're doing a TV show based off of this comic strip, Strange Planet, with Dan Harmon producing, which is wild. And I'm obviously very happy for Nathan too. And I just think I don't know. I just love what he does, and I love how the way he approaches things, where it really is just very pure of heart, it seems.
Yeah, Dan Harmon, the creator of Community and Rick and Morty and a bunch of other cool stuff. And you were talking about the examples of what a Strange Planet comic looks like. I pulled one up here. It's a bunch of the blue aliens celebrating one of the other ones, and they're saying, "This is where the planet was when you emerged." They're throwing confetti in the air, and the alien whose birthday it is says, "Tiny trash." And they bring out a cake and they say, "This is on fire." And the birthday one says, "I will exhale on it." So that's an example of the sort of translations that go on there.
Yeah.
You were following before Strange Planet. What was your introduction to Nathan's work?
He for a while there, he was, I don't know if it was freelance or if he was full, but he would make a lot of cartoons for BuzzFeed. And so those that's kind of where I'd found him, probably some article or something, and I just thought, oh, these are really fun and clever, and he has this one strip where it's just 2 people just complimenting each other, and then they just smile at each other at the end, and it just makes me happy every time I look at it. And I have a screenshot somewhere on my computer where I just send it as it's like my own GIF reactive. Just whenever you and your friend are complimenting each other, I just send it in. It's just 2 people smiling at each other, and it just makes me really happy. Yeah, and I think he just has really good. Even those had that thread or that similar line of humor that was sort of observational humor, which is kind of what he's doing. Mm-hmm. And as you were describing that last comic, it made me realize it's a lot like my other sort of favorite pure wholesome comedian for the most part is Jim Gaffigan. And again, not that I'm seeking these people out, but when I need that happy time, he has this whole bit about the Christmas tree and how people just let's bring that outside and let's put those lights, bring the tree inside and put those lights outside. He's like, it sounds like someone drunk on Christmas came up with how you decorate for and I think that's very much what he does with his comics, especially Strange Planet, is just put it in a different context, which is something that I think probably I do a little bit too with TikToks on occasion.
Yeah, your brain has to be wired just a little bit differently to kind of see past the stuff that everyone else takes for granted.
Yeah, that we just all accept and don't really think about ever again.
Yeah. Now, another example, I mean, now that you're talking about the sort of wholesome, PG-rated, comedy, it's making me thinking we're kind of in a moment for that with Ted Lasso and
yes.
Strange Planet and all of these. It really seems like we have there's kind of a reversal of. In my head, you've been active in comedy for a while now. So tell me if this is wrong. But in my head, I think of the Obama years as being still very cynical and dark and ironic, and it seems in the past 5 years or so, people have just been no, just give me something nice. I just want to laugh.
I think you're absolutely right. I think that's what happened too with not to make this about me, but just from my experience, when I started posting the quarantine TikToks and started that thread on Twitter, the first probably 100 weren't even really news based, unless it were to like sort of explain something about that was happening, like how to social distance or something. They were all very much like, Dave's going crazy in his apartment, let's all kind of laugh with him. And like it was, but like a very wholesome, clearly I wasn't going crazy because I was also editing and posting these, but
right.
But actually I shouldn't say clearly, some people were actually concerned. I'm like, guys, how would I put this together? So I think that people were craving that, and then Ted Lasso comes out that summer, and like it just throughout the rest of last year and even going into this year, it just kept getting more and more traction because I think people just needed that escape and needed that wholesome character. And yeah, I don't think that's a mistake. I think you're absolutely right. I think there's something, it's very easy to point to 2016 as that sort of like fulcrum point, and that might be true, but just in general, it does feel like people are craving a little bit less cynicism when they can get it, because otherwise it's very easy to find cynicism. I think that's part of it. Like it's sort of switched where it used to be like you go to Twitter to kind of be like cynical, and now it feels like that's everywhere. So maybe we need something more like Ted Lasso.
Well, that was Nathan W. Pyle, who's on Twitter at Nathan W. Pyle and on Instagram at Nathan W. Pyle Strange Planet.